what were we doing? Okay, so we had the UI up. And we have some code. And I guess the main thing we want to do, right, is trigger an asynchronous task that is going to do the transcription for us. How's that going to work? So we have a button. Oh, am I like in a full screen mode? Is that what's going on here? Yeah. Weird. Alright. Anyway. So. Let's do side by side here, maybe. Maybe that'll be good. Bring this over. There we go. Okay. So. We have a scan button. Scan button does nothing. What we want it to do is make an API call. Now we have kind of examples of making an API call for the button inside of this other widget, the one that's for video clips, where we have a mutation. A mutation is a wrapper from React Query that calls the data provider, calls a custom method, gets stream clips here. Well, we have a wrapper around. That's the type. Great. Where is the actual... So, in our data provider, we have custom methods. Get stream clips. So we can make another custom method. And this is going to be something like Q... Interesting. Not what I'm going for, though. Q stream transcription. I mean, transcoding is a thing that would make sense, but not what we're doing here. Okay. Is that signature right? Probably not prefix. We probably... How do we want to do this? I think we want to essentially pass in the things that the API will want. So we can take a look at that. If we look at here, interesting. What are actually all of the different options for the transcription detect API? Like, I feel like I had an example of all of them at some point in here, but I may have lost some. So let's say we have URIs. I was also debating whether it would make sense to just make a wrapper, like an interface, and then pass the whole thing in versus separate arguments. I think this is fine for now. Let's pull up the code though for this API endpoint. I want to make sure that, because I think it does support all of these different options like language and stuff. But to see that, we can go over to the transcription API and we'll find our handler. So this is the detect segment. And I think, yeah, detect input. So this is the actual, like, the shape of the input that we can pass in. URIs track language initial prompt. So this is what we want to kind of mirror here. Yep. Now, what could be kind of nice if there was a way to convert this into like a TypeScript interface, and then we just use that type here. That'd be nice, huh? In fact, I think what I'll do is let's let us in fact define that interface here. We're gonna call this, probably just gonna mirror the name here. Maybe transcription API. Something like that. Well, that's a good guess, Copilot, but that's not what I'm going for. I'm going to start with the things that I thought I cut, but didn't. Okay, never mind. URIs. Yep. Track. Should be a number. Language can be a string. We're not parameterizing a model in this. But we do have an initial prompt. And this should be like 1-for-1 here. Should be a string. I guess these are optional, so I guess I can make this also optional in a couple of different ways. So I could use question mark here, which would allow you to just omit, and so it could be undefined. Or I could say string or null. Actually, I don't know. I guess I haven't tested that. What happens if you pass a null for something here that gets deserialized as an option? Right, I've omitted it. So maybe that's, I know that works. So we'll do it like that. Also, that's a typo. I'm missing a P-T-I-O-N. Yep. I'll say payload. What? Yep, exactly. And then we just need to manufacture the the request and figure out what we're doing with it. So, how does fetch work? It takes request info or a URL and init. Okay, so we'll pass in the URL and an object, and I think the object will be where we put in our parameters, like so. That might actually work. We don't need to have that search parameters there. I don't think we actually need to build a URL object either for this. So base URL is like is fine. Is it? What is base URL? It's like localhost. Probably /API, which means that the rest of this should be like transcription detect. So this might work. It might work. It might do something. Of course, this isn't going to do anything on its own because we actually have to call this. Let's find our way back to... yeah, let's go full screen again. We get these side by side so we can have a kind of an example of a thing that works and then what we're building right now. So I think we can at least grab just debating what I want to do here. I think we'll leave out the form context. Because there are more steps before we'll be ready to show any data anyway. So let's go ahead and do this part, and we will update all the. Update import. Is there not a? Okay. No, we don't need that. It's loading anymore. There we go. And then let's see, control space. No, we don't. We don't know. Do I still have it on my clipboard? Nope. Of course not. Okay, Control Shift T to go back a couple files. It's called QStream transcription. That's what we're looking for. And then we're going to need to build the object that we're going to be passing in. And we'll just call this, I guess, queued stream trans. Maybe I'll call it, I go off this. Actually, so what is the, let's go back to here. What is this type actually used for? That determines the type of the thing we get back in the response. Huh. Data, variables, context. How is this going to work if the response doesn't return any data in the response body, but instead has headers? I guess it doesn't matter. Yep, can't go there. What we need, oh, right. So what we need to do, so we have a choice. Yeah, I think I talked about this at the beginning of the stream. Like, so there's like a multi-stage process here. In this request, we're going to get back an empty response that has a header, that has a location where the task is. We can then query that task URL to get the status, and eventually the data once it's complete. And then we can save that through the UI. So this here, we don't actually want to take the JSON. Like, this is just wrong. This is not what we want to do. What we want to do is something like this, where we're going to read the response header, which I think we can do here. Let's take a look at what Res has. Headers. Dot get, maybe. Location, awesome. Maybe we just return that. Okay. And so what we're going to get back is a promise of a string or null. Okay. That means the type here is just going to be string or null. Hopefully not null. Nui null. So that might work. Might work. Okay, and so in our the thing we don't have right now is an on-click for this. We also don't have so scan button here. Oh, weird. We don't need that. It's just wrong. Use mutation. Where are we getting use mutation from? Ah, React query. Okay. Great. So we are going to have to build out none of that. We're going to have to build out that object there to pass to queue stream transcription. And we're going to return that string. That's all fine. Borrow this. Let's not call it scan for clips. That doesn't really make sense. I mean, scan button doesn't really make sense either. What is this button actually doing? Right? It's queuing the transcription. My fingers still seem to have difficulty finding that P button. Okay. Cool, but wrong. Do we... Variables options. Interesting. Okay, so we'll figure out how we want to make this work. I guess we want to probably pass. I guess it's a question. I mean, we can either build the object here from the record, or we can build the object here from the record. I think that it's fine either way. Let's just do that here. And const result. Equals. There we go. Do we have the result there? No. It doesn't work that way. I can just look at over here where we see how it's supposed to work. Okay, cool. Do it this way. Except for the stuff that we don't need right now. Like any of that. There you go. I just want to log the data that we get back. Right. Okay, so what I'm going to do, take this. We're going to build an object to pass in. We're going to basically build the parameter, I think. Except this says variables void. Why is that? Unknown void. So this use mutation. What is its type definition? T data, T error, T variables. Okay. Is that the first argument as T data? Okay. Can we just can you do this in TypeScript? No. Okay. Unknown and void. So we just have to do them in the right order. Right, and then the thing that we want to pass in, which is going to be just this payload. So this this type here. Okay, so this is I don't think I want to bother doing that, which means I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo. We're just going to pass void to there, and we'll build the object in here just to avoid having to like export and import the type. Downside of that is then we have to like if we think of these being like layers, which is kind of weird because it's all in it's all in this one component. If we wanted to think about them in like layers of access, then we are like mixing. Like we're reading the record in here, but I don't think I care. I don't think that's an important consideration right now. So this is going to need a few things. It's going to need URIs. That is wrong. Where is... Ah, there it is. I'm just going to put in some dummy data just to get us going. I guess what I could do is I could just copy what I have in Postman. Yeah. It might even work. Language EN. There we go. And I'll clean it up to turn it more into the correct syntax. And I guess we don't need the record right now. We'll eventually, like very shortly, use the record to put this data together. But for now, we might actually be able to see this working-ish. There's still more to do, right? Because this is just going to queue up the job like we did at Postman at the beginning of the stream. We'll still have to go back and check the status and all that. So this is going to call mutate. Mutate is going to invoke our data provider custom method, which is going to make the API call to the transcription detect endpoint. That itself is going to then call the task API to queue up the work. So this might all work. Let me restart the front end so that we have current stuff. It's been like half an hour since we did that. It would be nice if Vite could auto-detect. I'm probably missing something that I need to set up to have Vite auto-detect file changes while running inside of Docker. But that's fine. Only takes a sec. Alright, so if I refresh this, and let's open up the dev tools as well. Go to network. So we have a button. It still is scan. Let's does the scan button get past the label? No, but we can probably thread in the label. We'll just read it from props. Yep. All right. Yep. And then we'll call this start. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we'll do whoops. guessing, just putting in the label. Looks right. Anyway, that's not needed to make this work. I just it occurred to me that I hadn't done that, and I would like to for the future. Okay, so if we click scan, all right, we made a request. Request failed. Unsupported media type. That's interesting. What did we do? We did prep some JSON. Here. Okay. Do we have request headers? Did we send a content type? Oh. Okay, we should probably include a content type, otherwise the backend Axum framework stuff is not going to like it. So we'll save that. Currently, we don't have any kind of authentication or authorization or any of that stuff because I'm just running it locally. It's not internet accessible. It better not be. All right, and okay, all looks good. Hey, start undefined. Whoops. Okay, so I missed a step here. So scan button takes a prop that contains label. This is supposed to read label from the props coming to form iterator. I thought... Okay, interesting. Okay. Actually, that kind of makes sense. Because... in the case of array input, we are spreading the props that the component is getting, which will include the label, because that's like a React admin thing, but we're not doing that for form iterator. So I'll just pass it in manually. I think the simple form iterator doesn't take a label in its props. Nope. Okay, that makes sense. But this is our form moderator. We can do whatever we want. So anyway, I'm not going to restart over that. But there we go. So we got a 202. Accepted. We got a response, which doesn't have anything in it. But if we look at the response headers, there is location. It's task 11. If we go over to the console, we get lots of warnings. But we do see logged API records tasks 11, which if we go and open, it's processing.
Hello there.
Hello. Thank you for the hello there. Oh good, and it showed up on the stream too. Hopefully it wasn't too loud. Or it was loud enough. It was loud enough in my ear. Just checking messages really quick. All right. So what's cool though is we can just keep on refreshing. So this is what we want the front end eventually to do, is to hit this endpoint over and over again on request or on a timer or something to check the status, and we'll show in the front end what the status of the queued item is. But before we get that far, I think the important thing we need to do is actually save the URL we just got to the backend, right? Because without doing that, if we refresh, or even if we don't refresh, we've not saved that anywhere. There's no way for the front end to keep track of the fact that, oh, there's this task that's underway that needs to link up with the record in question. So probably the thing to do might be to like just do that work inside of this function to like make an API call to update the record. What I don't know is how we're going to like communicate that back to the record itself in the front end, right? So there's what's in the database, and there's what's in the front end, and then there's these requests going back and forth. And so what we've done so far is made a request and got a URL back that's going to represent the task that's underway. And we get that back, and we can like log it to the console like we just did. We can make more requests to do like save it to the back end. But how does the front end know about that? And I guess one option is to do like we did over here in stream video clips input, where we use form context to set the value. Now the problem with doing that is that doesn't, I guess that's kind of okay, because even if we don't save the record, if we've already saved it to the back end, when the user leaves and comes back, that data will still be there. It'll be retrieved. There might be a way to like tell the front end to like refresh the record. And that's an option, right? So that we do this mutate, and on success, we just say, hey, refresh the page. I think there is like a refresh hook from React Admin for that purpose. ESH. I thought there was. I could be imagining things. Use lots of things. Is there a use refresh? Or reload? Something? Reference? Refresh. Alright, cool. What is it say? Hook for triggering a page refresh. Returns the callback function. The callback invalidates all queries and refreshes the active ones. Any component depending on React query data will be re-rendered. Okay. That's kind of what I want to do, right? So on success, we're just going to refresh. I don't think we actually need the data here. Now maybe there's a better way of doing this, but to get us to the next step, I think this will be good. The other part of this is in the data provider, we do need to tell the backend to save the URL. Because the transcription detect and task APIs don't know anything about the database where we're storing the data, they're just not going to do it automatically. We're going to have the front end do it. Which has some downsides, but it's not too bad. So we're going to do something like, interesting. Do we want to check to see if the response status was okay? Maybe, but we definitely don't want to do the second part. Instead, what we want to do is something like const task URL. Yeah, that exactly. Okay, sure. We could also check that that also exists. And we are going to return the task URL, I guess. Although we're not planning on doing anything with it right now. I think that's still fine. I do also want to make this an async function so that I can use await in it, because that'll make some things nicer for what I want to do next, where I'm going to await. Yep. No. We don't actually want to fetch the task URL here. What we do want to do is we want to, is there a way in our custom method to call the out-of-the-box data provider methods? It's probably not worth the hassle. So I think what we'll do is we're going to copy this bit here. And so this should be API slash, what's the endpoint for the stream? Is it just like records? Yeah, it's records, right? Records is the CRUD API prefix. R and streams. I think this is right. But specifically the stream that we are dealing with. So here's a gap that we have right now. We do need the ID of the stream that we're dealing with. And so that needs to be inside of this type here. It'd be nice if we had, yeah, that's fine. Stream. Yeah, ID. How about with an underscore? There we go. All right. And then we'll grab payload. Actually, because we're going to pass the payload to this, I think what we want to do is let's do some destructuring here. Oops. And we'll extract, we'll leave everything else in the payload by doing this, but we'll extract specifically the stream ID. And we'll turn it into kind of the normal camel case syntax naming convention. Pass that into there. And it's, are we posting or putting to that endpoint? Let's see here. Control P. Is it called update? Yeah, stream update.rs. There we go. And so we'll look up the handler, which sort of helps, although it doesn't tell us whether it's a put or a post. Can we go to references? There we go. It is a put. So in our router for the CRUD API, we're passing that update handler to put. So records streams record ID. Record streams record ID. Method is put. UT. We're not passing the whole payload though. We just want to build the thing that we want to update. And to do that, we want to grab transcription task URL is what we want to send it to. And so that will just update the stream record to put in place the transcription task URL, maybe. Now, debating whether I want to do any special handling here. I think this will be fine for now. There's definitely room for improvement around our error handling here, but as a start, I think this is good. This is going to make it so that we can. What are we doing on time? We got a little bit of time. I think we have enough time to actually get everything built. That's the wrong key. This key. How long is it going to take to build this time? Hopefully less time than before. Oh yeah. So I think maybe the reason it took so long before, some of that was because the base images that we're just using like latest rather than a pinned version. So we probably had to rebuild a lot of things that we otherwise would not have. I'm going to guess why that took like 10 minutes or whatever last time. Oh, so hopefully quicker this time. Which is good. We're going to wrap up the stream here once we hopefully see this working. And see about getting some lunch. I mean, I am. You do you. Did my stream just crash? Start streaming. Yep, go. All right. Am I back? What now? All right. Maybe. The stream just crashed. Looks like I'm back though. That was really interesting. Welcome back. All right, I don't know what exactly. The first error I saw was something about the encoder. Yeah, totally fine. Something about the encoder, which I have seen before. The last time we crashed, I feel it's like a month ago or whatever. It was the same kind of error, so I don't know what that's about. It's not like I'm running games or anything that would tie up the encoder. So I don't know. And then it was like, we can't access your stream or stream key, something or other. And it took like a couple of tries for the stream to come back up. So, I don't know. But the build is almost done. I don't have any drop frames, so I don't know. All right, 167 of 171. Let's go over to Docker. Did we... Okay, it looks like the containers have not actually been restarted. Or have they? Front end? 1108? Nope. Weird. What else do we need to restart to make this work? CRUD API? Yeah, CRUD API. Class started an hour ago. Is there not a refresh button here? 14 CRUD API. 11:18. Yeah. So let's restart. And maybe, just maybe. Okay, listing. It's very fast to restart. Maybe this will work, which would be great. It'd be great to have a working thing for kind of wrapping up the stream. I guess the question is, who are we gonna raid? Who to raid? I actually have a channel point redemption to guide the raid. That seemed like a good thing to have. I don't know if anyone has that many channel points. There's not a way to see that, is there? Anyway, getting distracted. Let's run this thing. Let me go to the network tab. Here we go. So we should see a couple of network requests, maybe? Okay. So we got detect, post. So that gave us back a location in the response. There we go, task 12. And then we tried to put, but that didn't work. API record streams undefined. Oh, you know why? So we did the work to make it so that we can have the stream ID to generate the URL to put to. But you know what we didn't do? We didn't actually provide that in the front end, the front end. Here. So we need to provide that as well. Stream ID. And this is where we need the record. Because the record in the context of this button, in the context of this component, is the stream record. rd.id. Yep. Save. All right. And let's go back to the front end. Unfortunately, it will not auto refresh, so we'll restart. But anyway, we could see, while we're waiting for that, we could see that, there we go. The request going to there, it did include the transcription task URL that had the URL to the task in question. So maybe if we refresh now, so here we can see where it's loading the record. I thought we would, yeah. API record streams 200. Response? No response data available for this request is kind of odd. Okay, well anyway, start transcription. Kicks off a task, which is that. And then we put, there we go. So we send our request. Oh yeah, so the put is handy because it's going to return back the full record after the update. So we put the URL, task 13, lucky 13, and the response has that URL. And in fact, then after that, we can see that, hey, we refreshed the record. And the refreshed record also has task 13. So, success. Now, what we're missing is something in this UI that's going to check, or a button to check, the status of the task and the ability to pull the data from the task, right? So if we visit this URL, which apparently I can't just click on and do, very inconvenient. So I'll copy, paste, go. So it's processing. There is a place for data. I can make this bigger. There we go. There is a place for data. We've seen this before in past streams while we were working on this API. So once the processing is complete, we'll have data here, and we want to be able to we want to be able to pull that data into this UI to populate the transcription segments with start, end timestamp, and text, And we kind of, we'll need to redo the, adjust the UI for it to make more sense. Maybe we can do like a timeline view or some, I don't know. Do something fancy, maybe. But that is the time I have for today. As it turns out, I need to go get some lunch. So thanks so much, everyone that came out for the stream today. It's been fun, as always, to kind of share in the struggle. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. There we go. Yeah, thanks for all the loves. And the bits from before. All right, let's commit. Let's generate a message. This is a, yeah. This is not a good commit, but that's fine. It's the stuff we worked on today, basically. If I was feeling a little bit more motivated to have cleaner commits, I would like split those things up into kind of like front end and back end and yada yada. But this is fine. Okay, so I'm going to do one last thing before we wrap up, which is to Control-Shift-P, create tag. This is going to be 2024 0114 stream. I think that's how I've been doing these tags. Same message. That way we can have a bookmark of what happened